I've been in the SMMA game for 4 years, and let me tell you, it's not what you think. Every other YouTuber on this platform is lying to you, telling you that you can hit 10K a month in your first or second month. Let me tell you, that's not true. I know that from experience because it took me 18 months to sign my first client, and it took me over 4 years to scale to where we are now, which is about 410,000 per month. And so in this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly what you need to know to scale to 10K a month with your marketing agency in 2023. So the first lie you've probably been told is that you need to follow your passion, right? Choose a niche that you're passionate about. Here's the thing. I run Facebook ads for my clients. Do you really think that I'm passionate about running Facebook ads for my industry? No, I'm not. In reality, I actually despise Facebook. I hate going into the Facebook ad accounts. I hate Facebook just overall. It's just always breaking. There's so many problems with it. I hate it. Yet I'm making 400 grand a month from Facebook. So even though I'm not passionate, it's still doing pretty well for me, right? However, luckily for you and me, you don't actually have to be passionate about what you're doing. You see, most of the world's billionaires are in the most boring businesses on earth.
When people say, oh, do what you're passionate about, follow your passion. Do you think Aliko Dangote is Nigeria's richest man? He made his money in concrete. You think he gives a about concrete?
For example, an example that's closer to our industry, if you look at Alex Becker, he just exited Hyros for $110 million. And he offered tracking solutions to coaches, agencies, and e-commerce businesses. Do you really think Alex is hyper passionate about tracking? Probably not, but he just made 110 million. So it's not bad. He didn't do bad out of tracking, right? And actually, as a side note, you actually shouldn't do anything that you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about it and it excites you, whatever the thing is, it most likely excites other people. And if it excites other people, it's most likely going to bring a lot more competition, which ultimately means that you're going to have a lot more people vying for your prospect's attention, because so many other people are now going into that industry because it's exciting. This is the problem with e-commerce. E-commerce is the worst industry to go into with your marketing agency, because so many other people are in there vying for your same prospect's attention. And honestly, most people in e-commerce are typically delusional, because they think that, they've been in the e-commerce niche with their agency for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, whatever it is, and they're still at like 50K a month, and they've never scaled past 50K a month. Yet they're so against switching niches because they have to be in e-commerce because they love it and they're so passionate about it. Yet they've been at 50K a month for 4 years and they still don't want to switch niches because they can't see the fact that you don't need to actually love the niche. You don't need to be passionate about whatever it is that you're doing. You can go into another niche that maybe nobody else is in, or there's a lot lower volume of people in it. And then from there, because there's not as many people in it, yet that industry still needs to be served with a service. They still have problems that you can solve. You're going to be able to take over that niche, no problem, because there's nowhere near as much competition. And so off the back of that, what you really should be doing is not looking where your passion is, not looking what you like, not looking at what excites you, because one thing that might excite you right now is AI. But the problem with AI is everyone's jumping onto the AI bandwagon, which means 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is, that whole industry is going to be extremely saturated. Same thing with this whole SaaS agency thing that's going around right now. It's the new hot thing. Everybody's going to jump into it, and guess what's going to happen to that? It's going to become the new e-com, where you should not go into it because it's so saturated. One of our clients went from 0 to I think like 50K a month in his first month of us running his ads. He's in the credit repair and funding industry. He's crushing it. I think his price tag right now is about 12.5K. They're the type of industries you should be looking at because they're the easiest ones to scale. And so as I say, the first thing with your niche is you want to be looking at not where your passion is, rather instead you want to be looking at what industry or what market has a problem that I can solve. That's the question you want to be asking yourself. What market has a problem that I can solve? And obviously on top of that, if you do have some like natural skills already, whatever it might be, maybe you're a really good designer, or maybe you're a really good advertiser, or a really good copywriter, like you do want to look at, okay, well, what markets have a problem in which I already have the skills in which I can solve, right? That can help aid your decision, but you shouldn't be looking at your niche or your service offering or anything like that based on your passion. You should be looking at it on your skills. And if you don't have any skills right now, that's totally fine. 4 years ago when I started out, I didn't have any skills either. It's totally fine. You don't need any skills to start, okay? But if you do have skills, you can help that aid or influence your decision. And the final thing I'll say on this is that no matter what industry you go into, I really recommend going as niche as possible. Go as specific as you possibly can, because the more specific you go into a certain industry or a certain niche, the less competition there is. For example, when PayPal, way back in, I think like 2001, 2002, when they started, they did not start as a payment processor for the general public like they kind of are now. They didn't start like that. Rather, what they started as is they saw on eBay that there was an issue with transactions. I believe back then, don't quote me on this, but I believe back then you couldn't transact online on eBay. You had to like do something external, like whatever it was, you had to do something external, okay? And so PayPal started as a transaction solution for eBay transactions specifically. And then over time, they've slowly expanded and expanded and expanded to where they are now. And the problem with how most people think about starting their agencies, they think about, you know, what industry is scalable, right? That's the question they ask themselves. What industry is scalable? And then they look at e-com and think, whoa, e-commerce is a, you know, $2 trillion market cap. I don't know how big it is, right? But it's, you know, e-commerce has got so much sales and it's growing year on year. Let me go into the e-commerce industry. That is the wrong way to think about it, because the bigger the industry, the more players there are. Whereas again, if you go specific, you go niche, you go, you know, to a certain specific individual, there's naturally not as many people trying to help that exact person. And so again, as I say, instead of going after the big industry, you're gonna go specific. And the reason you wanna do this is because you're not trying to scale when you're starting out. If you're starting out, you're trying to get to 10K or 20K a month. You're not trying to get to $1 million a month. If you're trying to get to $1 million a month, then yeah, you don't really wanna go super niche, because it's probably not gonna scale to $1 million a month, right? Only now am I looking at trying to expand into adjacent markets for our own agency, because we're at $500,000 a month, you know, 400,000-500,000 a month, right? Now I'm looking at expanding. But up until this point, we've gone hyper specific on one certain individual. And again, if you're starting, you're trying to get to 10K a month, not 100K a month. So optimize your entire business around getting to 10K a month, not trying to optimize and go into a huge industry like e-commerce, because you know you could scale to 2 million a month in e-com because the market cap is 2 trillion. I could easily scale to 2 million, but you're not trying to scale to 2 million right now. You're trying to scale to 20K or 10K, even 5K. You're trying to get your first couple clients. That's all you're trying to do. So solve for that, not solve for scale. So that's the first thing. And then on the topic of your services, again, the service is really going to be dependent on the problem that you've identified. That's why you want to start with, okay, what industry has a problem that I can solve? That's what you want to start with, because then once you've defined the problem of a really good industry, of a specific person, then the service kind of, you know, comes to the surface. It kind of shows itself what the service should be. For example, most industries, no matter what industry you go after, most of them are struggling with leads, of sales, clients, revenue, profit. It's always going to be in the vicinity of sales and more clients and more money in general. And so by extension, most of the common, this is why most of the common services in, you know, marketing agencies and SMMA is typically Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, SEO, you know, those types of things, social media management, whatever it might be. Most of the time, those are the common solutions, because the common problems that people are solving for is revenue. And revenue is usually the biggest issue that most small businesses have. And so that is why you do want to, typically, your solution's going to be in that realm, right? Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever it is. But that is really secondary. The main thing you want to focus on is the industry and the problem. And then from there, the solution will kind of show itself. Now that's the first lie, okay? Follow your passion. Don't follow your passion is what I say. The second lie that you've probably most likely been told is that this is something that you can do this month. You can hit 10K a month this month. You can hit 10K a month next month, whatever it is. Now, obviously, you know, people talk about that type of stuff in their YouTube thumbnails and titles and whatever else, and that's totally fine, because that's what's going to get the click. But there is certain people out there who truly tell you that you can get this in the next, you know, 30 days or 60 days. That is wrong. You cannot scale to 10K a month in 30 or 60 days. It's just not going to happen. Now, again, is there the outliers? Of course, there's always going to be outliers, but I'm saying for the general population, if you're an average person, you're not going to be able to scale in 30 or 60 days. But what you can do, and this is the thing, you know, I heard Hormozi talk about this once. He said that something along the lines of, if I was to give you a contract that guaranteed that you would be at $1 million a year in 3 years, would you sign that contract? Of course you would, right? If I guaranteed you that you'd be at $1 million a year in 3 years, would you sign the contract? Of course you would. Everyone would, no question about it, if you're not at $1 million a year right now. The problem is, it's going to take 3 years to get there. Now, if you knew though, at the end of the 3 years, you would be at $1 million, you'll probably wait those 3 years, most likely. And so the same thing applies here. Whilst I can't guarantee you that you'll be at $1 million exactly in 3 years, what I can guarantee you is that if you continue on the same path, focusing on the same thing for the next 3 years straight, you will be close to $1 million a year. I can guarantee that. You're going to be close. I don't know exactly what number you're going to be at, but you're going to be close. And again, I can say that with confidence from experience, because I started about 4 years ago, and now we're at 400, 500 grand a month, right? So it's whatever that is a year. We're way past $1 million a year, put it that way. And it's been 4 years. It's, you know, 3-4 years, right? And the reason why is because I focused on one thing. I saw all my friends try this different thing and try that thing and then come back and then tried something else and tried something else, tried something else. All the while, I was just on one path. And I'm still on that path right now, still doing the same thing I was doing 4 years ago. Exactly the same thing. And the reason why now we're at 400K a month, and every month we're adding sort of 50, 60, 70, 80 grand a month in new MRR every month that goes by. The reason why is because we're becoming extreme experts at what we do for clients. Every month we get better and better results. We get better closes because we're getting better results, and we just have this positive flywheel. But that's only come because I focused on one thing consistently for 4 years. If you want to make 10K a month, and really more than that, right? Like 50K a month, 100, it's in general, if you want to scale, you just got to focus on one thing and keep on doing it and eliminate any expectations. If you don't have any expectations, then anything that happens is naturally going to be a benefit. Don't set yourself an expectation of, oh, I'm going to be at 10K a month next month. Because guess what? Next month, when you're not at 10K a month, you're going to be, you're going to decrease your motivation. You're probably then not going to go as hard the month after. But you got to keep going as hard as you can every single month. And again, if you do that consistently over a year, 2 years, 3 years, you are going to be able to really do whatever you want. You're going to be able to scale. You're going to be able to hit 100K a month, whatever it is that you want to do, right? Trust me on that. And the final thing, again, I'll say on this is that if you do want to set expectations, set them not at the end of 3 months, rather at the end of 3 years. Because then anything that happens between now and the 3rd year, you're gonna be able to handle it, okay, because you're gonna be like, oh, this month we lost this client, or, oh, this month we're only at, 7K a month as opposed to whatever. But then if you go back to your goal and your goal's set for 3 years, it's like, well, I've still got 2.5 years to go. It's fine. Like, I've got time. And you do have time. That's what you also got to tell yourself. You have time. So decrease any expectations. Don't start your SMMA journey with the mindset of, I'm gonna hit 10K a month in 3 months, because you're not. I'm telling you right now, you're not. Now, let's talk about the third lie, which surrounds pricing and client acquisition. So 2 things on this. Number 1, pricing. If you're starting out, most people are going to tell you, charge 3K a month, charge 4K a month, charge 5K a month. You know what I tell you? Charge 0. Do a free trial. Don't charge up front. The reason I say that is because when you're starting out, you have to value the client, like the experience of working with the client rather than the money you're going to gain from working with the client. When you're starting out, for your first 1, 2, 3 clients, you cannot value a retainer. You can't be like, oh, I need to get my first client so that I make 2K a month. Instead, you need to be thinking, oh, I need to get my first client so that I know how to work with a client, how to get results, and actually get the results. So then I have proof to show new clients that I can actually deliver on this. Because at the end of the day, if you try and charge really high ticket for your first client, the problem with that is that you don't have any results to back it up. So who really is actually going to pay you 2, 3, 4, 5K a month when you have no proof to back up what you're saying? Most people aren't. And the issue with most agency owners when they start out is that they will try and pitch 4K a month with no results, and then they don't close clients for ages. And guess what? The reason why I didn't sign my first client for the first 18 months is because I fell into this trap. But now, being at 400K a month, looking back, I know why it took me 18 months to close my first client, because I was trying to pitch 3K a month service fee with no results. Who on earth is going to pay me that? Well, no one. No one paid me for 18 months, right? And then the first client I actually ended up signing was only 1,000 a month. I was pitching for 3K a month for the longest time, right? So instead, what you need to do is you need to just get your first clients on board, however you do that. If that means doing a free trial, it means doing a free trial. If that means, doing some kind of crazy money back type guarantee if you don't deliver, because then that allows the prospect to come on board, that means that. Do whatever it is to get the client on board, right? Do not lose clients because they don't want to pay. Do not pitch a client 3K a month. They say, oh, that's too much. I don't really know if you guys are going to deliver or whatever else. And then you in your mind are like, oh, well, like you should pay or whatever. And then they're like, well, I'm not paying. And then you lose that client. Don't do that. Don't value the 3K a month retainer. Value the experience you're going to gain from working with that client. Okay. Now, if that's the case, then that means that you're going to have a really good offer, because essentially you can say, hey, I'll get you XYZ result for whatever industry you're going after. Bear in mind, we've already defined the industry and we've defined what exact painful problem that they have. And now by extension of that problem, you've got your solution, right? So if you have that, then you can say really to your industry, hey, I'll get you this result, which is the inverse of their problem. I'll get you this result and you don't pay me until I deliver the result, because now you're happy to work for free until you get the result, because again, you're valuing the client experience, not the client retainer. Now, if that's the case, your only next step now becomes getting that offer in front of your market. That's all you have to do. Don't think, oh, now I need to send emails. Now I need to do cold DMs, or now I need to do, just think, no, fundamentally what I now need to do is get this ridiculous offer, which is I'll get you this result and you only pay me after I've delivered it. Get that offer in front of your market. The question becomes, how do you do that in the most scalable and efficient way? Well, I'll give you a hack right now. A hack that will allow you to do this for only $10 a day. What you want to do is you want to take your offer, you want to embed it into a very simple, basic funnel. I've got a bunch of other videos on this channel, which you can see popping up on the screen right now, that go through exactly how to create a VSL funnel, how to, run ads and whatnot. I've got a bunch of other videos. That's not what I'm going to talk about in this video. Go watch those other videos if you don't know how to, create a funnel, right? But fundamentally, you want to create a basic funnel, okay? Then you want to pay a lead sourcer, okay? There is a couple websites as well that you can go onto that will do this for you, or you can just get a lead sourcer to do it, whatever. Get a lead list. The goal is pay a lead sourcer, buy a list, whatever you need to do. Get a lead list, okay, of 10 to 20,000. The more the better. So if you can get a list of 50,000, that's even better. But minimum, I would say 10 to 15,000 or so of your ideal qualified client, whoever that is. Then what you want to do is you want to upload that custom list, custom audience, into Facebook, okay? And then create an ad set with that direct audience. So don't create an ad set with a million size audience or interest targeting or whatever it is. No, create an audience that is literally 10 to 15,000 in size, which is the lead list that you've just scraped. You've paid a lead sourcer to scrape, okay? Now that lead list should only be your qualified clients. Remember, that lead list, okay, should be the niche specific market, whoever it is that you chose that's hyper specific, hyper individualized to whoever it is, okay? And then you want to upload that list into Facebook. And then you want to run a $10, $20 a day ad. You don't want to do any more than that because otherwise you'll saturate the audience too quickly. So literally $10, $20 a day. You want to run an ad that speaks to your desirable offer that you've just created, right? The offer that we just talked about there, which is, you know, hey, I'll get you this result and you don't pay me a cent until I deliver the result, okay? Or you could also try a different angle of the ad where it's like a free trial type thing or whatever it is. $10, $20 a day budget, run it to the custom lead list that you've just created that is only of your qualified prospects, and watch what happens to your calendar. It will fill up quicker than you realize. Only using a $10 budget. And this works for any industry because it doesn't matter who you want to target, as long as you can create a 10 to 15,000 lead list of that industry, you can run ads to it. Yeah, it's not gonna scale, okay? Yeah, you can't spend $1,000 a day on that audience, it's too small, but guess what? We're not trying to scale right now. We're trying to get you your first couple clients, we're trying to get you to 10K a month. All you need is 5 clients at 2K a month each, you're at 10K a month. And that's all you're trying to optimize for right now. Again, think back to PayPal. PayPal is a multi-billion-dollar company right now. I don't know what their valuation is, but they're multiple billions, but they started out as a transaction solution for eBay. That is what you're trying to solve for right now in your agency. You're not trying to scale to the multiple billions or even $1 million a year or 50,000 a month or 30,000 a month. You're trying to get to 10K. Solve to get to 10K. Don't solve for scale. Once you're at 10K, then you can solve for scale. Then you can go into the whole other stuff that comes with scaling at that point. Go into your adjacent niches, focusing on product, making your product so good like we have. Like I've been now for the last sort of year or so. The reason why we've experienced so much scale is because we focus so much on product and our service that our service now is the best service for any agency owner to choose in the market space, bar none. Like it's not even a question about it, right? Oh, I've only done that now that we're focusing on scale. And again, you can do that after you've got past 10K a month. So that is my guide, okay, on how to go from 0 to 10K a month in 2023 in the most efficient and effective way possible, and in a way that will actually get you to 10K a month, right? I'm not saying, hey, you'll get to 10K a month in the next 30 days. I'm not saying this is going to take 6 months. It might take 12 months. It might take it might take you into 2024, right? To keep working on it. But I promise you that this is me handing you a contract saying, if you sign this and you commit to this video and you do all these things, you will be at 10K a month if you continue to hone on one person, super niche, create a great offer for that one industry, run your $10 to $20 a day ads to that industry, etc. You will get to 10K a month. Trust me on that. So hopefully this was useful. If you did find it valuable, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, do all that type of stuff. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video.